Hello everyone. This topic is regarding the molecular diagnosis, and this is the very special topic which is coming under the chapter biotechnology and its application. So we need to think on the very first question that what is the actual need of molecular diagnosis and why we need to implement this concept, and we are learning this concept under this chapter, that is biotechnology and its application. So um, most of us, we know that early detection of the disease or diagnosis of the disease in the individuals will ultimately help the individual to get the better treatment, and the recovery of the patient will be very much effective, and we can treat the medical alignments of that particular person in an effective manner if we are able to diagnose the stage at the very early uh, stage, you can say, where the infection causal organism for the infection and the type of disease the infection that person is carrying, it could be ultimately being identified in the uh, early stage. So for that, if we are considering the conventional methods of diagnosis, and basically these are dependent on the serum identification, which are the you can say saliva or urine, etc., or blood sample. So whatever be the type of conventional you can say methodologies for the diagnosis of the disease, it ultimately we are going to identify the stage in which the symptoms, when it appears, then only the people, they are able to track out the medical condition of the individual. So ultimately, what is the basic significance for this molecular diagnosis? It actually helps to detect the early symptoms, or you can say it helps in early detection of the alignments which through which the person is being going on, and due to which the identification of the early symptoms or early detection of the presence of the you can say the microbiological agents in the body, doctors, they can treat the particular disease or alignment through which the person is suffering, and for that effective treatment could be given, so that person can be recovered from that particular stage in an effective manner. So as you can see, most of the conventional methods, they actually help us to identify the type of bacteria or viruses which are uh, causing certain set of symptoms in the body of the organism. So let's see what is molecular diagnostics. So molecular diagnostics, basically they have contributed to the improvement in the diagnosis of the orthopedic infections. PCR based techniques which are capable of identifying the bacterial DNA or RNA, which can aid the determination of the pathogenic organisms and drug resistance, even in orthopedic infections that are not culturable or have a low virulence. So that potency, which is very very low, it can be easily identified and detectable through the molecular diagnostic methods. And since such methodology is very much significant for us, so it's the practical significance of this technology through which the early detection of the alignments can be done for the infected individual. Let's see what are the different types of molecular diagnostic techniques which are given in your book. So the basically the presence of a pathogen, bacteria or viruses or other you can say microbial agents, which are normally suspected only when the pathogen has produced a disease symptom in the body of the organism, or you can say the individual. By this time, the concentration of the pathogen is already very high in the body of the individual which is suffering from such disease. So however, when we try to find out the very low concentration of the bacteria or viruses at the time of their entry, when they enters inside the body, when symptoms are not at all you can say localized or visualized for that particular disease, then it can be detected, and that detection can be done by the amplification of the nucleic acid by the PCR techniques, and this is how the PCR techniques which can be very much helpful for detection of the different amounts of DNA or very low amount of virulence which is being present in the organism's body. Let's see what are the different methodologies or techniques. So very first technique is recombinant DNA technology, in which the recombinant DNA technology it ultimately helps or useful to place specific circumstances, at least in three main cases. And what are these cases? It can provide precise diagnostic information about the genetic disease, so early detection of the genetic disease can be feasible, then allowing the appropriate counseling, whether the person is whatever type of disease through which they are being suffering, what type of treatment they are willing to perform or they are willing to do, then indicating the future direction for the research on the therapeutic intervention. And this is for this the gene therapy is being you can say applied. Now let's see what are the methodologies. So PCR, this is the polymerase chain reaction, and this is the real time polymerase chain reaction in which the it's basically a molecular diagnostic technique of identifying whether the target genetic sequence of DNA or RNA, example for a cancer gene or a bacteria or virus in human, animals, or in food distribution, supply chain, or specific attributes of a seed variety. So these are the actual practical significance through which the PCR methodology is being used. So what actually happens in this case? So polymerase chain reaction, that is PCR test, they are basically being used to detect the HIV's patient's genetic material, that is the RNA, retrovirus infection. So these tests can be used to screen the donated blood supply and to detect very early infection before antibodies have been developed, that is at the window stage when there is no early detection of the viruses inside the body of the human individual which is carrying the infected HIV viruses, and it is not at all even detectable through the ELISA test, that is enzyme linked immunosorbent assay. So PCR is somehow much significant and better option to detect the AIDS, you can say, in the individuals, or whenever there is need of the blood donor in case of any medical emergencies. So actually what happens, the PCR methodology, it amplifies the even micro fraction of the DNA molecule, or you can say RNA viruses, if it is present in the you can say the serum of the blood or the body fluid through which the sample is being taken out. So at this stage, what happens when the sample is being amplified to too many times or n number of times, ultimately it helps to detect the virus if it is present or if it is not present. And this is how the contamination in the blood, it can be easily detected whether the sample is AIDS free or whether the sample is carrying the AIDS virus. So that window phase in which when the organism is being in that particular phase, we are actually not able to detect the presence of the HIV virus through the ELISA test. So PCR is the only technique and methodology for the early detection. So these tests can be used to screen the donated blood supply and detect very early infections before antibodies have been developed. So this test may be performed just days or week after the exposure to the HIV. Now what happens, amplification and quantification of DNA is the basic concept here, and because of PCR, that is polymerase chain reaction, which amplifies the regions of the DNA that it targets, PCR can be used to analyze extremely small amounts of a sample. So this is the very important question which is given in your book, that is can you explain how PCR can detect very low amounts of DNA? So the answer lies in that PCR is now routinely used to detect the HIV in a suspended AIDS patient because it amplifies the genes, or you can say the viruses, and this is how we are able to detect them in the sample of the blood. Now the next methodology for the molecular diagnosis is the ELISA, that is enzyme linked immunosorbent assay. So this is a basic concept in which the antibody antigen reaction is being channelized to identify the level of infection. So this ELISA is a diagnostic tool that is used in medicine and other industries to detect and quantify the specific antigens. So the plate is being developed by adding an enzymatic substrate to produce a visible signals which indicates the quantity of the antigen in the samples. As you can see here in the picture, the captured antibody is being fixed with the surface of the plate, and the different source of the antigens, they are being added here. Now the antibodies which are labeled, radioactively labeled, and the substrate is being added in this. And ultimately what happens when the labeled antibodies, they find out the antigen, they get the antigen antibody reactions, and ultimately the substrate or the compound, chemical compound which is being you can say given in the particular reaction mechanism, it will show the signals where you can easily identify that antigen antibody reaction has been taken place, and the sample, it contains the probable number of, or you can say the probable sample for which the detection is being taken of whether the organism is having the bacterial content or the viral infections, and due to which the different type of chemicals which are being produced in this cell, it can be easily identified by the antigen antibody reaction. So this is how the ELISA test is being performed, and this ELISA test is only applicable if the amount of chemical produced by the antigens, which are the foreign bodies, are so intense that they are able to you can say develop the antigen antibody reaction. So this is because of that most of the viruses, that is HIV viruses, they do not show this reaction, that is ELISA test is not coming positive unless and until there is a quantified, you can say, or there is a large frequency of the viruses in the sample of the organisms, or you can say in the body of the individual which is carrying the HIV positive viruses in them. So for early detection, the best method for AIDS detection is you can say is PCR as compared to the ELISA. So ELISA is also being used for detecting the AIDS sample, that is AIDS virus HIV infection, but the more precise one is PCR methodology. Now let's see the next example which is given in your book, and it's about the autoradiography. So whenever there is a single stranded DNA or RNA which is tagged with the radioactive molecule which is known as probe, is allowed to hybridize to its complementary DNA in a clone of a cells, followed by the detection using this method, that is known as autoradiography. We can able to detect the sample or the you can say the diseased condition in the bodies of the individual. So the clone having the mutated gene that will hence not appear in the photographic film because of the probe will not have complementarity with the mutated gene, and this is how we are able to locate the affected individual sample. So a single stranded DNA or RNA which is joined with the radioactive molecule is basically known as probe and is allowed to hybridize to its complementary DNA in a clone of the cells, and it is followed by detection using the autoradiography, or you can say autoradiography is a imaging technique that uses the radioactive source contained within the exposed sample. And in vitro autoradiography method basically involves the isolation of the cellular components such as DNA, RNA and proteins or lipids, followed by labeling with the suitable radioisotope. As you can see here in the sample, that cryosectioning of the organisms sample is being taken out, and this radio labeled equilibrium binding is being done, and now in vitro radiography is being performed. Washing and exposure, that is phosphor imaging scanner is being used to identify the radio labeled chemicals which are being exposed, through which the sample of the organism is being exposed, and now the digital autoradiogram and the quantification which will ultimately show you the correct positioning and the early detection of the disease in the individual. And this is all about the radio autobiography. So this is all about the molecular diagnostic techniques and methodologies which is biotechnologically helpful for the early detection of the disease in the individuals. Thank you so much.